The vice mayor has to stand up, pat his head, rub his belly, and
can do
say,
that.
"Rubber baby, what is it, rubber?" I can't even say it.
So let's do that as we stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. See? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. The mayor is in Emporia at the Kansas League of Cities, so she asked me to pinch hit, which I will do. It's an easy job, so I'll do it. So, City Manager, why don't you take it over?
Thank you. On your first page, you have 4 awards and proclamations. Page 2 have 5 people on the public agenda. Page 3, number 1, new business, would approve the purchase of 2 aerial platform trucks. Number 2 would approve just slightly less than $400,000 for the purchase of miscellaneous fire equipment, most of that to be on the new fire apparatus, or on new fire apparatus. Number 3 is approving $2.5 million for replacement fire radios. Number 4 would approve $1.3 million for the replacement of self-contained breathing apparatus in the fire department. That's it on page 3. On page 4, number 5, this would approve a state grant application to target crossover, homeless, and runaway youth as part of our Way to Work program. Number 6 would approve the budget for GEO and special assessment funded neighborhood improvements. Number 7 would approve a design contract and art budget for the 3 fire station projects that are in the CIP in the near future. That includes the new station located in southwest Wichita.
Does that include the one for District 5 too?
The northwest, it will,
Northwest.
the design that we do, the design of the new station in southwest will serve as a model for 2 more stations, including that one.
Okay, okay,
Similar to what we were doing with the substations for police.
yeah, okay.
Let's see, where was I? So number 8, approved funding agreement with Sedgwick County for $125,000 for 29th and Grove environmentally at-risk testing. Number 9 would approve the issuance of $7.2 million in IRBs for the construction of spec warehouse and in distribution by CAPS Holding. That's all I have on page 4. On page 5.
Before we move on to
Yes.
page 5, can you hear me? This is Mayor Wu.
Yes.
On item number 7, Vice Mayor mentioned the District 5 fire station, and I saw that Chief Snow was nodding no. Can that be explained?
Explain yourself.
There you go. The wording is, can you hear me?
You have to push the button. Yeah.
There you go.
There you
All right. The wording talks about the design for 3 different stations. One station is the new Southwest station. The green sheet also says, it talks about the design for Station 8, which is a rebuild, and it talks about a design for Station 15. The intent, and the city manager is 100% correct. The intent is, as we move forward, to use that template. I just wanted to be 100% accurate, that to use that template as we move forward, so we can just build new stations or replace stations and not invest additional money on design. So, but I also didn't want to be inaccurate, because the wording in your pamphlet says for 1 new station and then 2 rebuilds. So,
Makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, page 5. Under council member agenda, the first item is discussion by the council of the selection process for city manager, and it says actually for selection process and local government discussion. I will be sending out, at the request of the mayor, the RFP that was used in 2008 for soliciting proposals for consultants for the process. And then I'm going to send out information on it was a timeline for the last police chief recruitment. And I think that's important information because it was a pretty robust public engagement process on the front end as well as throughout the process. So that may give you some guidance as well. So I'll send both of those out this afternoon.
Can you also send a job description for when you were hired? If they have that?
Yes, I have to go back and double check. It may be in the RFP, but it may not be. And
Okay.
it probably isn't because it was revised through the engagement process by the consultant. I'll see if I can
Okay,
find that.
dig it up, okay.
It's pretty much,
Bob?
it's responsibilities as assigned by council. It's pretty
Yeah,
much it.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Bob, before you move on,
Yes.
could you repeat that item?
City manager selection process and local government discussion is the way it's worded.
What's the local government discussion?
I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming it's reflective of the discussion about options in terms of our form of government, but that's,
Is that something that we have 4 votes on to discuss
I think,
in that presentation?
Maggie, I think we'll know after we discuss it pretty quickly whether there's 4 votes or not.
Right, but I'm talking about to even move forward in the conversation.
We're gonna take 4 votes now?
We can't do a vote.
can't vote now.
What's the point of that question? We can't take a vote.
Well,
Be just
how are
like
we getting
workshop.
a presentation on it if we haven't voted to discuss it further? I just want to make sure things aren't getting put on the agenda without us really knowing what is being asked or being presented, and it doesn't seem like that is necessarily
If that's the
how it
case,
is.
let's go back and hear the Crown vote as well.
I don't understand the similarity.
I don't either.
Regarding the historical registry, it was brought by one council person. It was not voted to be added to the council member agenda portion when we talked about it.
I didn't understand what you're saying.
So, I mean, if that's gonna be the precedent, then we should maybe go back and take a revote on that vote.
So if we get technical about that, that was brought up at a council meeting, and per Robert's rules, silence is a yes, and no one said no to that. So council supported adding that to the agenda.
Make sure to say no in the future.
Bob, do you have suggestions?
No.
May I ask a question? And I can get with Paul too. I don't have anything in my packet, like an agenda, I know, like paper or anything for that 1 or for 2. I mean, will there be a presentation? Will there be anything? I mean, I just, does that make sense what I'm asking?
It's not a staff initiative. I mean, this is a discussion among the council members about process. The mayor asked that we have some background materials sent out to you in advance, and so that's what we're going to do. But there won't be a council report, and I don't believe, there's no PowerPoint presentation from staff.
I just don't know how it'll play out then, right? I mean, I just want to try and, I always want us to look professional and polished and prepared as we are. So just kind of want to know, like, what happens?
My recommendation, Mr. Vice Mayor, that we continue talking about the city manager selection process, and whatever conversations come from that, come from that. And we can say whatever we want from the bench.
During the council meeting.
During the council.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's move on, and then we'll talk about the council meeting. We'll have plenty of time to talk about that, if that's okay.
Yeah, I just hope
We
the
okay?
focus is on the city manager selection process. I mean, that's the most important thing.
And the most timely.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Okay.
Well, we'll have HR staff available also to answer any questions you have.
Okay,
On the process.
thank you.
There are 2 other items that have been added. This, number 2 is a travel request by the mayor for future travel. And then the third item is a retroactive approval of her travel today for for the Kansas League of Cities. That's all I have on page 3, or excuse me, on page 5. Nothing on page 6. On page 7, 3B would approve an inspection contract for 3 high-risk pre-stressed concrete cylinder water pipelines. This is consistent with work that we've been doing the last year or two to identify potential problems that could occur in this special, and these mains that were constructed in a way similar to the main that failed, the main transmission line that failed several years ago.
I noticed the dollar amount's a lot more this time.
It is, and somebody, I think, from Public Works can.
So the first inspection we did was it was larger, for larger diameter pipes. And then this next round will be a little bit smaller diameter pipes that will require additional access points to get into those pipes. So that's part of the additional.
This cost, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
4A would approve design contracts for 3 street construction projects. Number 6 would approve the sale of surplus property on East Pawnee for $72,000. On page 8, number 7 would approve an update to the transit safety plan. Then on page 9, number 11 would approve the sale of a public housing authority property on South Walnut. You actually had approved this previously. However, for some technical reasons, the buyer could not close on the sale or the purchase of that property, and so we're going to the second highest.
Yeah, $5,000 less.
5,000 difference, yep.
Yeah.
So that is all I have on the April 8th agenda. If there aren't any other items for discussion on that agenda, just a real quick review of the April 15th agenda, still under development. On page 2, new council business, this is the annual agreement with Wichita River Festivals with festivals for the Wichita River Fest. It includes in-kind services that we traditionally provide from various city departments, and then a $40,000 cash sponsorship. Previously, we'd had another $40,000 for special events associated with Riverfest. However, because of the rising cost of public safety, primarily for police protection associated with this, that $40,000 will be moved to help offset some of those police expenses. On page 3, you'll have the annual report. Number 3 is the annual report from the Land Bank. The next 2 items are public hearings for the issuance of revenue bonds. One are multifamily housing revenue bonds. The second is for an IRB. And then we've talked about this previously, the residential daycare ordinance change was originally anticipated to be on the 8th. It's now moved to the 15th. I don't have anything else on page 3 or 4. Page 5, 4A is a design contract for Phase 2 of the riverbank improvements on the West Bank. Number 5A is a contract to complete the transaction for the purchase of the parking lot. You approved the budget for that adjacent to the Central Bureau's current facility, but we need you to approve the acquisition contract. Number 7 is a $25,000 grant request from the Kansas Historical Society for a statewide conference. It would pay for the entire cost if is approved. Numbers 8 and 9 are sale of surplus lots. Page 7, number 12 is overestimate bid for some ongoing maintenance required at the Lincoln Street Dam. And then all the way back to page 9, number 21, that's an extension of the concession lease that we have at Eisenhower Airport. That's a preview for the 15th.
Okay, thank you much. Appreciate it. Congratulations again on your announcement, retirement.
Thank you.
So I'm sure you're not looking forward to that yet, but you will be.
Yeah, we've got a few months.
Got a little ways.
Yeah,
A little ways yet. Any council members have comments or events?
District 1 breakfast tomorrow, Edgemore. Our guest is the famous Mr. Bob Layton.
Yeah.
Glad
Good.
to have him there at Edgemore. And if you haven't been to Edgemore, there's a lot of new improvements there, so definitely hope to see people turn out.
Good.
I mentioned this last week at the meeting, or at the last meeting, Cowtown 75th anniversary will be Saturday at noon. Hopefully, the weather cooperates for a couple hours, and then we can get some more rain after that. But 75 years of this museum just being a vital part of our community. So please come on down and bring some cowboy hats and boots and have a rootin' tootin' good time.
This morning, I was watching several of the news outlets, and one of the stories was thanking Public Works and how the street sweepers are getting out, and they highlighted how much salt had been applied to the streets to the roads during this winter, and then talking about the efforts of the street sweepers to now clean it up, and especially to make sure it's safe for bicycles and things on the road. So just a big shout out to Public Works for all you do, especially this winter. We were getting emails even in the middle of the night with updates of the snow removal efforts. So much appreciated and glad to see some public recognition.
I have a District 4 breakfast, 9:30, Saturday, Auburn Hills Golf Course.
Okay.
I would like to
Thank-
thank the police department for working so hard and quickly on recovering the cannon and already arresting 2 people regarding that situation. So huge thank you to the police department and everyone involved for that. And Bob, I'd also like to make sure that when somebody is asking staff for direction or to do something, that we take 4 votes, because this is getting out of hand in my opinion. I mean, last week the language was changed on the proclamations before it was even talked about to us. So I'm not okay with, 1 or 2 people giving direction and then finding out about it later.
Bob, to that end, I would probably want legal advice, because Councilman Tuttle says we can't do that often. Councilman Ballard is asking for that, and so both of those things can't be true. And so I want to know which one is accurate, if it's just talking about it, because we're told on there that we can't take a vote to bring something for discussion, so it's impossible to be able to get to 4 votes. So if we're able to do in Councilmember agenda to then bring 4 votes, I'm fine with that. But that would be in conflict with what Councilmember Tuttle says often. So I just want direction from legal on which one makes sense.
Okay. Well, with that, in the spirit of working together, we'll see y'all Tuesday. Thank you.